Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Back at Chase Field last night, a close game broken up by a late Prince Fielder home run. And tonight with Texas back in town, it's rookie Archie Bradley back on the mound. We are set for D-backs baseball here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The second of a two-game series tonight against the Texas Rangers. Tonight in San Francisco, the Dodgers' Clayton Kershaw is matched up against the Giants' Madison Bumgarner. Well, so far, Bob, in two big league starts, Archie Bradley's outpitched them both.
You know, managers and pitching coaches talk about a soft landing for a young pitcher. He's had anything but a soft landing. He drew Clayton Kershaw in his first major league start this season, and Madison Bumgarner in game two, and outpitched both of those guys. Really looking forward to see Archie tonight against Giovanni Gallardo.
And another mountain to climb here. Giovanni Gallardo unbeaten in his career against the Diamondbacks. 7-0 record, a 1.86 ERA. Opponents sitting only 2.06 against him. Those are Diamondbacks, by the way. So Gallardo was on the mound for the Rangers and Bradley for the Diamondbacks. It should be a whole lot of fun here tonight. Coming up next, you won't want to miss this. It's celebrity lineup introductions. Frank Caliendo is here, and he will give us our Diamondbacks lineup tonight. And then it's baseball, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Between the Diamondbacks Rangers. It's no laughing matter. We've got quite the pitching matchup on our hands, and Arizona's own king of laughs, Frank Caliendo, was on hand tonight taking BP with the team, and after a few swings of the bat, he took a turn with the mic.
I tell you what, man, this is going to be tremendous. Leading off, left fielder number 5, Ender Enciarte. I love this guy, man. Batting second, number 11, center fielder, A.J. Pollock. Yeah. Yeah.
Batting third, number 44. You know who we're talking about? We're not talking about Paul Silversmith. We're talking about Paul Goldsmith. Come on, knuckleheads. Love this guy. And batting in the cleanup spot, which you would think would be a thing where you actually do have to clean up. You don't have to do that. That's just what they call it when you're batting fourth. Number 15, the right fielder, Mark Trumbo. It sounds like a musical instrument.
Batting fifth for the Arizona Diamondbacks, number 5, Aaron Hill. Side.
Batting sixth, the most luxurious second baseman in all of Major League Baseball, number 16, Chris Owings. He's not fired.
Caught a mile of the filthiest slop ever thrown by a pitcher. There was one man, batting seventh. Hometown boy, ASU baseball player, Tuffy Gosawish, number 9, in case I missed it. Batting eighth, number 25, your pitcher for the night, Archie Bradley.
At batting ninth for your Arizona Diamondbacks, number 13, your shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Well, he's a tough act to follow, but the Diamondbacks will do their best. In the past, Mr. Jess, Archie Bradley and crew are ready for tonight's challenge. We're counting you down to first pitch. Bradley Gallardo, Rangers Diamondbacks. It's game time right after this.
Starting pitchers have put up a collective 1.93 ERA over their previous 6 games, and Archie looking to continue that trend tonight against the Texas Rangers, who are looking to sweep this 2-game series after last night's 7-1 win. Prince Fielder a late home run, and they'll send Yovani Gallardo out there, the former Milwaukee Brewer, to face 22-year-old rookie right-hander Archie Bradley. He has risen to the challenge and outdueled NL West aces Clayton Kershaw, Madison Bumgarner so far. Only 5 hits allowed, Bob. His first 12 and 2/3 innings against 10 strikeouts.
Well, I mentioned it already today. The most impressive thing for me has been fastball command. This is a guy that reportedly in the past would let his emotions get the better of him, try to overthrow the ball. He has really stayed completely in control out there in his first 2 starts this season. His fastball location has been outstanding.
Well, a win tonight would mean the first series win of the season for the Texas Rangers and their first consecutive wins of the year. Diamondbacks trying to salvage a split of this 2-game set with their rookie right-hander on the mound. Leonys Martin looks at strike one. Mike Everett, our plate umpire tonight. And third baseman Aaron Hill in on the grass a step or two. Martin at 237 on the year. Shatters the bat right by the bare hand of Archie Bradley. Nick Ahmed throws him out, one away. Here is the lineup for the Texas Rangers tonight. Their new skipper, Jeff Bannister.
We've seen Leonys Martin at the top. Elvis Andrus batting second, playing shortstop. Prince Fielder, big night last night, a double and a long home run. He'll be at first. Adrian Beltre over at third base. Shin-Soo Choo out in right field. Robinson Chirinos doing the catching. Jake Smolinski, the only change in the lineup tonight. He's in left field with Rougned Odor playing second base and Giovanni Gallardo on the mound.
Nailed it. Elvis Andrus. Just over 180 on the season. And there's strike one from Archie Bradley. His batting average actually higher than his on-base percentage at this point. But Andrus on base 3 times last night, a pair of singles. He stole a base, had an RBI, and scored a run. All in the 8th and 9th innings. A ball and a strike.
Yeah, a couple guys in this Ranger lineup a little greedy. You see the numbers, the batting average 233 at the top, 386 in the middle. That's Prince Fielder. Lots of ones in front of those batting averages. That's something you never expect from a Rangers team. Now, granted, it's early. They'll hit their stride when the weather warms up down in Arlington. That ball start flying out of the ballpark. But it's really unusual to see so many guys in the lineup not hitting the ball.
Archie back in there with a strike, so it's full on Andrus, 3-2. Gets this one high in the air to center field. A.J. Pollock is out there with plenty of room. 2 down.
Mentioned Prince Fielder had a big night last night. An opposite field double in his first at bat of the ball game, and then this long home run out near the RamTrucks.com pool area.
Hitting 386 on the year, a pair of extra base hits last night, as Bob mentioned. The home run is first. 3 RBIs last night, and the Diamondbacks, as Andy Green told us yesterday, go into a fairly aggressive overshift against Prince. And last night, the double and the home run, is 9th multi-hit game this year. In fact, Fielder really heating up now. He's had multiple base hits 6 times in his last 8 games. Two 2-0. Is there a way to pitch this guy, Bob? Because if you pitch inside, he'll pull the ball and kill you. If you pitch away, he's shown he's perfectly willing to go against the shift and hit the ball to left center field.
I'd take my chances pitching him away. I'd rather give up a single to left field than a 500-footer to right field.
Archie's behind, 3 balls and no strikes.
Now, when he's right, and he's getting very close to being right like he was before the neck surgery, he can drive the ball out of the ballpark to the opposite field. But right now, he just seems content just to flip it out there to left center, left field when you pitch him away.
And Jeff Bannister was emphasizing again last night with the media that Fielder has gone basically 9.5 months without playing baseball, coming off that neck surgery. And the homer was nice, but Bannister more impressed with how Fielder has been swinging the bat, driving the ball gap to gap, and beating these shifts. He'll take the walk here with 2 outs. A look at the Diamondbacks around Archie Bradley, our mid-first bank starting defense.
Tonight we'll have Ender Inciarte in left field, A.J. Pollock in center, Mark Trumbo over in right field. It'll be Aaron Hill and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield, with Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Tuffy Gosewish doing the catching for right-hander Archie Bradley.
Aaron Hill getting the start at third. Last night we saw Yasmani Tomas out there. Yasmani on the bench to open this ball game up. Adrian Beltre. Beltre hitting just under 160 for the year and still only 1 RBI this season. 1 for 4 last night, a single and a stolen base.
Archie Bradley, perhaps in this inning, showing that he's advanced beyond his years. You look at this lineup, and right now there's one guy that jumps out, Prince Fielder. You definitely don't want to let him beat you. There's a lot of guys really struggling. Batting average is way under 200. I think he was just pitching around Prince right there and did a nice job of it.
I was just going to ask you that because it sure looked like he was being very careful. But a hitter's count here for Beltre. 2 balls and a strike with 2 outs. Three and 1. Through his first 2 big league starts, Archie says he feels very comfortable when he gets out there on the mound. Feels like he has a very good idea of what to do. Very confident in the game plan that he and the coaches come up with, and Tuffy goes a wish as well. 3-1 to Beltre. Back-to-back 2-out walks.
Right fielder number 17, Shin-Soo.
That'll bring up Shin-Soo Choo.
I'm pretty sure he was pitching around Prince Fielder. Not quite so sure he was trying to pitch around Adrian Beltre and put Fielder into scoring position. Just missed his spots that time. Quick meeting to the mound by Tuffy and Aaron Hill. Get your mind right. Get back to business. Attack the bottom part of that strike zone.
Choo down to 135 to open up the year. He's had just 2 extra base hits all season. And as he steps in here is 2 for his last 25 at the plate. Archie misses again. It's ball 1.
Choo in the ball game last night was in dead pull mode. He had a couple of rollover grounders right at the second baseman.
Went 0 for 4. There's a strike, 1-1. Archie in his last start, 6 2/3 at San Francisco. And only 2 walks in the ball game, 4 strikeouts. He's already walked 2 in the first inning here tonight. 1-1 to Choo. Curveball.
Second curveball he's thrown in this inning. He threw one to Beltre as well, but it was 17 pitches into the ball game before he threw his first curveball. Good one here to Choo. Right down there at the bottom of the zone.
Those are the key words, bottom of the zone.
Absolutely. Now there are a couple hitters in this lineup. Prince Fielder most notably. If you're down and in, he can hurt you, but you definitely want to keep that. Keep that ball down.
Choo has a real knack for getting hit by pitches. But after 2 quick outs, Archie Bradley, a pair of walks and a hit batter, has loaded the bases for Robinson Chirinos. Mike Harkey, the slow walk to the mound.
Choo was tied with Carlos Quentin for most hit by pitch going back to the beginning of the 09 season. He's now taken a lead. That's number 89 since the beginning of the 09 season.
Is that a skill or just bad luck?
I think it's a combination. I know for Carlos Quentin, he just refuses to give. Puts his toes right on the inside corner of the plate, hangs his arms out over the strike zone, and refuses to move.
Well, Archie has worked his way into trouble here with 2 outs in the first. And he'll work to the Ranger catcher, Robinson Chirinos, with the bases full. And now already at 23 pitches. Chirinos, 5 hits in 28 at bats this year. Does have a pair of homers. He was 0 for 4 last night. Fielder the runner at third, Beltre at second, Choo aboard at first. Strike 1.
That's about as middle of the strike zone as you can possibly get right there with a 4-seam fastball after dropping that first pitch curve in for a strike.
All right by him to get to 0-2. A strike away from getting out of this mess. 25 pitches so far for Archie, 14 balls. The 0-2. Toughie time.
Yeah, toughie time. Boy, and that's right where you want an 0-2 curveball. You want to get the guy to maybe chase something, get himself out in this situation. So you want to put that ball right on the back point of home plate. That one actually hit out in front of the plate. But Toughie once again up to the task, keeps that runner at third base.
Can't get the call from Mike Everett, and Chirinos is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Our Fox tracks would show that maybe nipped the bottom of the knees right there, the bottom of the strike zone, but does not get the call from Mike Everett. You don't need that low strike tonight.
He's got to live down there. 2-2 now, and it's full. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded. Smolinski would be next. Fielder at third, Beltre at second, and Chu at first. And now Archie looking at least a 30 pitch first.
Higher than he probably would have liked right there, but had enough giddy up on that fastball that Chirinos could only get a piece and foul it straight back.
One more time on 3-2.
Pulling nose hairs.
It's number 9 coming up.
Sit over in that dugout, and Randy would get up to 115, 118 pitches, and the batter would foul off pitch after pitch after pitch. And I've said it many times, it felt like pulling nose hairs. Like tears in my eyes.
He walked in a run. 2 quick outs, and Archie Bradley has walked 3 and hit a batter, and it's 1-0 Texas.
Left fielder number 20.
That's another thing that's been impressive about Archie Bradley in the early going. On those occasions when he's gotten himself into trouble and he's lost his command, he's been able to find it rather quickly. The next batter, maybe 2 batters down the road, he's right back in that strike zone. Left-hander Andrew Chafin taking off the sweatshirt, getting ready to start cranking it up.
So here's Jake Smolinski now, getting the start in left field tonight for the Rangers. Bases still loaded. There's the strike, 0-1. Smolinski 3 for 22 on the year with a double and a home run. He walked and reached on an error in last night's ball game. He scored twice.
We know Archie likes to work quickly. Kind of reminds you of Wade Miley in that respect. He gets the ball back, right back up on the rubber, ready to throw the next delivery. Sometimes you just have to slow down a little bit. Don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Misses there. It's 2-1. Archie right now at 35 pitches, 20 balls and 15 strikes. 2-2. Well, inconsistent fastball command has been an occasional issue with Archie Bradley throughout his minor league development, and it snuck up here tonight. Back to third. Aaron Hill has the force on Chu, and that ends the inning. So considering the trouble he was in, 1 run might keep the Diamondbacks in the ball game for the time being. They trail it 1-0. Bottom first coming up. Major League starts.
Well, and as he's going to learn moving forward, the Rangers had 2 games of video to look at and kind of put together a game plan offensively against Archie Bradley. And with each successive start, there's going to be more and more information out there and adjustments to be made. It'd be nice if he'd come out of the shooting pitch every game the way he did the first 2, but he's going to have some nights like this where maybe he struggles from time to time.
On the mound for the Rangers, 29-year-old right-hander Yovani Gallardo, now in Texas after 8 seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers. This is his 4th start this year. He is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Rangers. And in just under 16 innings, he has given up 20 hits with 15 strikeouts.
You know, a little bit of a slow start by his standards. I'm sure he's hoping coming here to Chase Field, where he's 5-0 lifetime and 7-0 against the D-backs in his career. He's hoping to get him started this season.
Ender Inciarte trying to get things started for the Diamondbacks. He'll lead it off. And Beltre in on the grass at third, about 4 or 5 steps. Backs off a bit now. Ender 321 on the year. Hit into a fielder's choice in his only at bat last night. There's the strike, 1-1. Prince looking for some direction. Where do you want me to stand? 1-2.
Beltre was playing extremely shallow over at third base, and Prince is playing way back with the left-handed hitting Inciarte at the plate. Just trying to balance out the infield a little bit.
Well, with Prince down there on one end, you got to balance the scale a bit.
Everything kind of tips to the first base side of the field.
2-2. And he knocks it into right. Inciarte's aboard. 0 for 10 over his last 3 games. 1 batter, 1 base hit for the Diamondbacks, trying to lure Chu into a throw.
Center field.
One change in the lineup for the Rangers tonight. That's out in left field. Smolinski takes over for Pagora. It'll be Martin in center, Chu in right, Beltre and Andrus on the left side of the infield, with Odor and Fielder on the right side. Robinson Chirinos doing the catching for Yovani Gallardo.
A look at our mid-first bank starting defense for the Rangers. A.J. Pollock in the 2-hole tonight. And at .340 for the year. There's a strike, 0-1. AJ 1 for 5 with a single from the leadoff spot last night. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6. Gallardo jumps ahead 0-2. He was acquired by Texas for 3 players back in January. And the Brewers decided to move Gallardo before he becomes a free agent after this year. And with Yu Darvish injured, Gallardo became the Rangers' 7th different opening day starter in 7 years. So he is quickly the de facto ace here with so many of their starting pitchers injured. This is on 0-2.
He's been the opening day starter for the Milwaukee Brewers for the previous 5 years, so he's used to that ace title, whether it's de facto or legitimate.
A true rotation workhorse in Milwaukee over the last 6 seasons, one of just 9 pitchers in baseball with at least 30 starts and at least 180 innings every year. One and 2 to A.J. Pollock. In Ciarte, the runner at first. 2-2.
Pretty good numbers considering he pitched most of his career at Miller Park. That's a tough place to pitch and keep the ball in the yard.
Get up, get up, get out of here, gone, as Bob Uecker likes to say. Chopper, Beltre will charge and throws it away. It's up the right field line. Cincinnati being waved home by Andy Green. Here's the throw. There is no throw, and it's a tie game. Well, Adrian Beltre, 4 Gold Gloves on the mantle, and he throws that one away for the tying run.
Questionable whether they were going to get AJ at first or not anyway, even with a good throw, but Beltre eliminated any possibility as he just whistles this one down the right field line, past fielder, past everybody. Fielder the closest defender to the ball, and by the time he gets there, Ender Inciarte and his speed have motored all the way around from first base and score on that overthrow.
You score that, a single for Pollock, E5 on Beltre. He's replacing his divots. And the Diamondbacks right back in it, 1-1 here as Goldie steps up. America's first baseman hitting .314 and leading the league in RBIs. Tied for second in the league with those 5 homers, 1 behind Joey Votto. He's 4th in OPS. Reprieve perhaps for Archie Bradley.
Yeah, back to 0. Good numbers for Goldie against Giovanni Gallardo. He's got good numbers against just about everybody. Also has drawn a couple of base on balls against the Ranger right-hander.
Well, 2 problems there. Robinson Chirinos thought about throwing to third. 1, there's no one there, and 2, he dropped the ball. Other than that,
smooth as silk. Beltre never moved from his position. This is kind of set up. That's almost like a half of a pitch out right there. Just moved way off that outside corner, but Beltre never budged down there at third base. Somebody had their signals crossed up there.
About 12 feet off the bag. 2-1 to Goldie. One more time for Beltre. This will get a run home, and the Diamondbacks have a 2-1 lead.
Well, we have a moment. let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. It is Earth Day, so we want to go green. We want a lot of D-backs base runners to go see Andy Green at third base today. And don't stop, just say hello on your way by. And stay close to Yovani Gallardo. The book on him, as long as I can remember, is he can be very dominating at times early in the ball game, but if you stay close, he'll make some mistakes up in the zone.
So an RBI ground down for Goldie. Here's Mark Trumbo. Strike one, says Mike Everett behind the plate. Trumbo hitting .271 through his first 12 games. Mark 1 for 4 last night, a single and a pair of strikeouts. He's hit safely in 8 of his last 9. Think this does anything for Archie?
Well, hopefully a little bit of a break there. He threw a lot of pitches in that first inning. A chance not only to recoup physically, but maybe get his mind right before he goes back out there. I mean, he's been through this before. This is not the first time. It may be the first time at the major league level he struggled the way he did in that first inning, but he's gone through some struggles before, and usually he finds his way out the other end successfully.
Archie Bradley, 3 walks and a hit batter in that first inning led to a Texas run. Diamondbacks have answered quickly here with 2 in the home half. A ball and 2 strikes on Mark Trumbo. Aaron Hill on deck. Yovani Gallardo, the losing pitcher in his Rangers debut. That was April 6th at Oakland. Lasted just 4 innings. But he's won both his 2 previous starts. Base hit for Trumbo.
Third baseman, number 2.
Stick your bat out there and find a hole. That pitch out there off the outside corner of the plate. Keeps his head right down the barrel of the bat. Shoots it that way. Gets rewarded with a base hit into right field.
A 1-out base runner for Aaron Hill. Hill in there just over 170 on the year. Getting the start at third base tonight, Yasmani Tomas on the bench. Jake Lamb on the DL, if you hadn't heard. A stress reaction in his left foot went on the DL yesterday. Aaron chases that one upstairs, and it's 0-1. Aaron Hill hit safely in his first 3 games this year, but since then he is 2 for his last 26 at the plate. Gallardo's ahead 0-2. Gallardo has won his last 2 starts. He's pitched pretty well. 7 strikeouts and 5 2/3 against Houston. And his last time out was Friday at Seattle. There you see it, 6 scoreless in a win over the Mariners. Did a good job in that ball game at Safeco Field, Seattle, of jumping ahead in the count and staying there. And he rings up Aaron Hill for the second out. First strikeout for Gallardo. And we'll see Chris Owings.
Second baseman, number
Gallardo has a
16.
full arsenal of pitchers out there on the mound. He'll throw a 2-seam sinking fastball. He'll occasionally throw a cut fastball. Has a good curve, good slider, occasional straight changeup. But when he's right, he can get by with just the 2 fastballs going both directions and that big curveball.
Hardly threw the changeup at all last year. A little more this year, not a whole lot. You don't usually see that from Gallardo, as CO drive that one down the right field line, but foul. Chris had a base hit last night and has now hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games. So Gallardo laboring here in the first as well. And in that start at Seattle last week, mentioned that he just jumped ahead in the count nearly every time. He's thrown strike 1 of the last 3 Diamondback hitters. First pitch strikes last week for Gallardo, 16 of the 23 he faced. He's the pitching coach, Mike Maddox. Owings drives it to right. Chu is there, and that's the inning. But the Diamondbacks answer. They get 3 hits, and after one, they lead it 2-1. Conditioning and plumbing, choose Chad's. And by Law Tigers, Arizona's motorcycle lawyers. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. A beautiful night here. Roof and panels open. Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 2-1 as we start the second inning. Rougned Odor. That's a couple in conflict right there. Archie Bradley, after a very rocky near 40 pitch first inning in which he walked 3 Rangers and hit a batter, back out there for the second, but again behind in the count. Ball 1 to Rougned Odor. 6 hits in his first 47 at bats to start the year. He's at 128 and hitless last night. And we'll have some focus here with Yovani Gallardo on deck, Bob, tonight on hitting pitchers. You've got Gallardo, who's a real hitter up there for the Rangers, and Archie for the Diamondbacks, batting 8th in the order tonight, not 9th.
Man, Gallardo's been doing it for a long time. 12 career homers. He's driven in over 40 runs and just over 400 at bats in his career. He can swing it.
So we'll keep an eye on that. 3-1 to Odor. Misses, and Archie has now walked 4 and hit a batter.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Mention Yovani Gallardo. He is a hitter up there. A 195 career batting average. He's got 12 homers, 20 doubles, and 42 RBIs over the course of his career. He has homered in this ballpark, but squares to bunt here with Odor at first.
Well, Gallardo's accustomed to shaking off signs from his catcher. I think he'd like to shake off that bunt sign if he could.
Tony Beasley down there at third. The career numbers on Yo, as they used to call him in Milwaukee. Aaron Hill in on the grass at third. Goldie holding Odor at first. And the bunt is up the first base line. Goldie going to get the lead runner. And they roll. No, they can't turn the double play. Gets off the glove of Chris Owings down there at first.
play would have been nice, but you'll take this trade-off. Get Odor off the bases, get Gallardo on at first base. Gallardo, rather. Just off the webbing of that little second baseman's glove. Not the same when Chris Owings is stretching out as when Paul Goldschmidt is stretching out. Bigger target, bigger glove.
Leonis Martin looks at strike one. Grounded out to lead off the ball game. Bounced over the mound. Owings behind the bag. Ahmed spins and throws, and they roll a beauty. Some D-back defense. The 4-6-3. Owings, Ahmed with a pirouette. And they finish off the double play. D-backs lead it 2-1.
Some more guys on in front of Goldie is what it comes down to. And so maybe gives Nick a chance to see some different pitches, being behind the pitcher instead of being in front of him. And Archie can swing the bat a little bit. So you always want to do it with a pitcher you feel like can handle the bat and do some things. So he can do that. But just more so, the biggest reason is to get more guys on in front of Goldie.
D-back skipper Chip Hale talking about the bottom third of his batting order tonight against Yovani Gallardo. Tuffy Gozawish batting 7th. Looks at strike one. It's Archie Bradley, the pitcher, on deck. And Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, behind him, batting 9th. Do you ever do that?
No. No.
What are your thoughts on the reasons?
I mean, Tony did it a lot in St. Louis when he had Mark McGwire hitting in that 3 spot, and you know he wanted to get as many guys on base ahead of McGwire. So it's the same basic principle that Tony used to use in St. Louis. I think there's some merit to it, and you know the way Nick has been struggling, I think there's something to be said for having a hitter behind him as opposed to always hitting 8th in front of the pitcher. That's a tough way for a young hitter to go about making a living when you've got a guy behind you that has very little chance of generating any offense, so they pitch you a lot tougher in that 8-hole than you might expect. And you know, Nick just hasn't been able to lay off some of those breaking balls in the dirt and the high fastballs, and once big league teams find your weaknesses, they're just going to continue to pound away at them until you close those holes.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Tuffy Gozawish. Off the fielder. Gallardo covers, 1 down. So here's Archie hitting 8th.
Pitch. pitcher, number 25.
Of course, we know he's an athlete up there, recruited to play quarterback at Oklahoma. 1 for 6 so far. Actually had a base hit on the first pitch he saw in the major leagues against Clayton Kershaw right here. Look familiar?
It's very familiar.
You broke that, didn't you?
Oh, I didn't. I was close to it when it broke, but I didn't actually break it.
All right. Well, it looks fixed anyway. There's strike one. You care to? Oh, you're going to blame it on Gonzo again?
No, Gonzo wasn't on our fire truck. Jerry Colangelo, myself, Rich Dozier were riding on top of the fire engine. We had the trophy bungee down to the top, and as we went around a corner over here on Central somewhere, there was a tree overhanging. We all ducked, and at the last instant, we all realized that the trophy can't duck. So the branch bent a few of the flags, and we very quickly got it repaired.
Well, it looks gorgeous. There it is.
Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
That looks like before the incident.
Before the incident,
yeah.
definitely. Because a couple of those would be bent at right angles.
Call it strike 3. Second strikeout for Gallardo. Well, it always looks good, no matter what condition.
Shortstop, number 13, Nick Ahmed.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is bent a little bit there in the back. Just a little malfunction.
Yeah, two of them are across each other.
That was after the fact. You know, I'm trying to hang on to it now. Don't want it to fall completely off the fire truck.
Well, Mr. Brentley, how would you explain this? Nick just over 120 for the year and trying to get it going here. Nick Ahmed coming into tonight stuck in a 2 for 25. And we heard Chip Hale a moment ago just changing the dynamic of the lineup. He's trying to shake something up here. Might just help the vibe up there for Nick. He's been so good defensively. Just trying to get the bat going now. But when you're, 2 for 25, sure enough, you're up there and it's 0-2.
Yeah, and Gallardo's dotting that outside corner at the bottom of the kneecaps. Not a pitch you could do much with anyway.
Yvonny Gallardo doesn't blow you away with velocity, and he's averaging just under 92 miles an hour with both the 4-seam and the 2-seam this year. And a fair amount of sliders.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
He strikes out Ahmed. 3 strikeouts for Yvonny Gallardo. And after 2, the Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 2-1. There it is, the big moment. Well, it looks great there, that's for sure. Panda Express, introducing Chinese spare ribs. And by First Bank, member of FDIC. Just a beautiful night here at Chase Field as we start the third inning. Archie Bradley and the Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 2-1. As Elvis Andrus leads off the Texas 30, flying out his first time up. Archie has yet to allow a hit, but he has walked 4 and hit a batter. Diamondbacks got 2 runs back in the bottom of the first, and we're 2-1 here as we start the third. Up and in. Three and one now. So a leadoff walk. That's the 5th walk in 2+ innings issued by Archie Bradley after a 37 pitch first.
First baseman, Prince.
And now he'll deal with Prince Fielder.
Check out how Archie attacks Prince Fielder with our Fox tracks here. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Most teams choose to go after Prince Fielder away, backdoor breaking balls, sinking fastballs away. Maybe show a fastball inside off the plate just for effect and then go right back away again. The home run last night, however, was on a tee down and in, and he really mashed it.
Off Daniel Hudson.
First pitch curveball. Prince always sitting on a first pitch fastball.
Well, the home run for Prince last night, his first of the year, his first home run since May 8th last year. Of course, he missed most of last season with neck surgery.
Get it in there.
Goes the other way, lifts it toward the left field corner. That one slices foul.
You can see Tuffy sliding inside there to Prince Fielder. That's the fastball that's supposed to be for effect. You either throw it just off the inside corner or farther inside, but that ball straight all the way out over the outside corner. Letting the big man get extension. That's scary.
Well, Prince was asked about the home run last night. Everybody in the Dallas media had been waiting for that. He said the home run was fine, but he is all about RBIs. That's what he's looking for. Says as long as he drives the runs in, that's all that matters. And he strikes out on an 0-2 pitch for the first out in the third. First strikeout for Archie tonight.
Good curveball down in the zone.
Baseman Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, a lot of times a pitcher will throw a curveball and you'll see the ball initially go up out of his hand and then it starts to take the break as the ball spins toward home plate and then comes back down. Archie throws his so hard it doesn't have that upward movement out of his hand initially. A little tougher to pick up that curveball than against some other pitchers.
Adrian Beltre walked his first time. This in the air toward the pool. Trumbo on the run. Tracks it down. We've seen Mark do that a couple of times recently, Bob, showing some good range out there, able to get out to right center field.
Yeah, and attacking the ball a little more aggressively on defense. He was so cautious in the early going this season, but I think that road trip, it started on that last road trip, caught that one right in the heel of the glove, but ran a long way to cover that gap in right center field. Makes the play on the dead run out there.
And again, that's why he wanted to be more comfortable, or felt more comfortable in right field, because that glove hand is on the right field line, so he didn't have to go across his body, he felt, if something was hit down the line. So that's another case of him going across his body like he would have had to do in left field, and doing a good job. 55 pitches for Archie, still more balls than strikes. Shin-Soo Choo was hit by a pitch his first time. Choo, and really in a sense has been several different players over the course of his career. Early in Cleveland, he was a corner outfield power hitting type guy after a few 20 homer 80 RBI seasons, but had such a knack for getting on base, he became more of a stolen base on base percentage guy, batting leadoff. And now here in Texas, they got a new skipper, Jeff Bannister, and he is going with Choo again as a middle of the order type bat. So he's been a few different guys over the last several seasons. He cut it that one. It's 1-1. Choo says he always gets the question, where do you like to hit in the order, because he's all over the place. And he always says he didn't mind anything as long as I play every game. I'm a hitter. I'm supposed to hit. So lead off, fifth, whatever. And they like Leonys Martin in the leadoff spot and Choo further down. A ball and a strike. 2-1.
I've always been of a mind, it doesn't really matter what spot you hit in the lineup. If you come to the plate with nobody on base and nobody out, you're going to do your best to get a hit. It changes with situations throughout the game. You might be the leadoff hitter for a team, but come to the plate with 2 runners in scoring position. Well, that may change your approach in that particular situation, but just the fact you're a #1 hitter, I don't think locks you into any particular style of hitting. You just want to hit the ball hard.
Archie, who has already walked 5 and hit a batter, is behind 3 balls and a strike on Choo, with Andrews at first and 2 down. Popped him up third base side, drifting out to shallow left field. Nick Ahmed is under it, and he's got it. And Bradley strands the leadoff walk, still hasn't allowed a hit, and he leads it 2-1. Game-changing player. Look at these numbers. Giovanni Gallardo, career against the Diamondbacks, 7-0 in 10 starts, a 1.86 ERA.
Yeah, he is right.
Sometimes
there's just no way to explain when one guy dominates another team the way Gallardo has dominated the Diamondbacks. I mean, as you said, his fastball's not overpowering. He commands it fairly well. Throws a curve, a slider, occasional changeup. Nothing out of the ordinary, but he has had the Diamondbacks number.
Yeah, it's not just the wins. I mean, he has allowed 5 or fewer hits in 9 of those 10 starts against the D-backs. And here at Chase Field, 5-0 in 6 starts, the ERA under 2. Home, road, doesn't matter. Inciarte trying to bunt for a base hit. Odor makes the play, but fielder can't close, and Ender's aboard.
Pretty nice barehanded play by the Rangers second baseman, but he gave Prince a little more of a flip than he could handle over there at first base. Not far away at all, that underhanded toss. Prince tried to barehand it. Just a little too much on that cross the body toss. Fielder tries to make the adjustment with the bare hand, but can't hold on.
And they rule it E3. The error on Prince Fielder. So Inciarte aboard for the second time. Here's AJ. He had a single and advanced all the way to third on the throwing error by Adrian Beltre. Interesting thing about A.J. Pollock and where to hit him. Is he a leadoff guy? Is he a middle of the order bat? A lot like we were just discussing with Shin-Soo Choo. 7 games in the leadoff spot this year. A.J.'s batting .250. Coming into tonight, he is 10 for 20, batting in the 2-hole.
Inciarte doing what he does best. He's a distraction over there at first base. Gallardo paying a lot of attention. Already one snap throw over there. Steps off the rubber before the next delivery.
Belts it to right center field. That drops. Inciarte will take the turn and head for third. On the corners with no outs for Goldie to open up the third. Pollock 2 for 2. Goldie an RBI ground that his first time. That's right below our broadcast position here. Those brand new suites at Chase Field. That is quite a view. Goldie with an 8-game hitting streak. 3 homers and 9 RBIs during the streak. Last night on base twice with a single and a walk.
So far in this series, the Rangers have tried to do to Goldie exactly what the D-backs pitchers have tried to do to Prince Fielder. Just work away, away, away. If you do come inside, it's just a show pitch. You don't intend to throw a strike on that inside part of the plate and then go right back away again.
Leading the league in RBIs. He's already got 1 tonight. Saw Gallardo work upstairs there. That's kind of his MO in his last start at Seattle. His pattern was to work up in the zone and then get guys to chase bad pitches down. And that resulted for him in a lot of weak contact. 14 ground ball outs, in fact. Big cut there by Goldie. And Gallardo said when you show them you can pour it into the zone and then keep the ball down, they're going to swing. And Jeff Bannister very pleased with Gallardo's ability to work vertically, he said. Elevate that fastball and then be able to go down in the zone and get ground balls. He's ahead of Goldschmidt, a ball and 2 strikes.
First pitch that's even come close to the middle of the plate, and that one was down below the knees. I think it'd be a dangerous way to pitch Goldie. He has such great plate coverage and is more than willing to hit the ball to right field. We've seen him go out that way with power on numerous occasions. The Rangers just don't appear to want to give him anything from the middle of the plate in.
Away so far in this at bat. Pollock takes off, and he's in there as Goldie strikes out. Second stolen base for AJ. First out in the third.
Goldie had to make sure to get out of Chirinos' way as he threw that ball to second base. Swung and missed. The body started to carry out over the plate, and Goldie caught himself and got out of the way quickly.
So now Pollock at second, Inciarte at third. One out for Trumbo, who singled his first time up. So Mark has now hit safely in 9 of his last 10 games. Ball one. I thought that was for selfies.
Get you 3 feet closer to the action.
We're down to third. Inciarte back in time. Robinson Chirinos behind the plate for the Rangers.
That particular pickoff can be a little tough for a base runner at third to pick up because Mark Trumbo is such a big guy standing in that right-handed batter's box. He kind of screens the catcher a little bit. Chirinos just stood straight up, threw over the top, but Inciarte back in on his belly safe.
2-0 to Trumbo. Mark Trumbo believes what we've seen so far from the Diamondbacks, if this is a glimpse of this lineup's potential, he's pretty darn happy with it.
This gentleman's happy up there in the front row of the upper deck. One-handed grab. Nicely done.
Boy, he was swinging for Mesa on that one.
It's elevated just a little bit. Mark's done such a nice job of getting on top of high fastballs this year. Just under that one.
Another case of Gallardo elevating there with a fastball. Now we'll see if he works down in the zone with a bad breaking ball here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beltre knocks it down at third. Inciarte scores, and it's 3-1 D-backs.
Defensive play down there by Adrian Beltre. You think that's ever been said before?
Yeah. Once or twice.
Great range, great throwing arm. It was a shock to see him throw that ball away earlier in the ball game, but takes a base hit away from Mark Trumbo there, but Ender Inciarte on the plate.
Third Diamondbacks run. AJ still at second now with 2 outs for Aaron Hill, who struck out looking his first time. Aaron 2 for 17 on that last road trip, but had one of the biggest hits on the entire trip, that 2-run double off Sergio Romo in the 12th inning last Thursday at San Francisco, when he cleared the sky of seagulls and chicken tenders.
While we have a moment, let's take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. The guy that Randy will be sitting next to on the stage in Cooperstown in a couple of months, John Smoltz, became the 16th pitcher in Major League Baseball with 3,000 strikeouts. Felipe Lopez was the victim, the Washington Nationals second baseman at the time. John Smoltz, oh man, he was a great starter, he was a great closer. They said if you'd put him in center field, he'd have been a great center fielder. He was just a tremendous, tremendous athlete.
And very good on television now as well. Gallardo had 0-2. By the way, we caught a lot of flack for not catching that baseball that came in here last night. That was the talk of the town.
Somebody that's never attempted to catch a missile. That was it got up here too quick. Barely cleared the backstop. Came up on a line. See, that's what happens. You try to make a catch, the guys get hurt, things get broken.
Evan Grant up there, I believe. The Rangers beat writers. Yeah, they're still cleaning up down there. Man down.
I think we played it just right. You leaned right, I leaned left. It whistled right between us.
Oh, got to tweet a photo. He broke my computer. That's Evan Grant from the Dallas Morning News. 1-2 now on Aaron Hill.
Another fastball up there just a little bit higher than Aaron Hill could handle. Out it straight back, had a good swing at it, but just can't quite catch up to it.
Breezy down there on the field. Everything's open here on a nice cool night in downtown Phoenix. Roof and panels.
Kind of reminds you of Candlestick Park. If there were about 1,000 more plastic bags blowing around the field.
Elvis Andrews getting some applause from the folks for cleaning up down there. The Rangers shortstop.
Oh, it is earth. Clean up your trash.
Good point. I like the way that came together. 2-2 now. These Rangers are a happy bunch. They're always down there. Fielder and Beltran, Andrews, Odor, they're all down there smiling, joking all the time. They appear to be a very loose club. Nice job by Aaron Hill to work the count. Full now, 3-2 with 2 outs, and A.J. at second. Chris Owings on deck. Reaches down and lifts it in the air to right field. Shin-Soo-Choo is there. And that's the inning. But the Diamondbacks get one more. And after 3, they lead the Rangers 3-1. Central battle. It's the Tribe and the Tigers, then a Subway Series matchup. The Mets and the Yankees. Coverage begins at 9:30 on America's home for baseball, Fox Sports 1, and streams live on Fox Sports Go. Oh, can I get all right? Selfie time. Hold on. Fix the hair here. All right, ready? Hey, you kids with the phones. All right, they took one bad one and one nice one.
And if they don't like either one, they can delete them both and just keep taking pictures till you get the one you really like.
Robinson Chirinos. One out to Nick Ahmed.
Bring the whole family to the ballpark this summer with the D-backs Value Pack. For just $19, you get a ticket, a Subway sandwich, a Pepsi, and a free cookie. The Value Pack is available for any home game. Buy now online at dbacks.com/value. Well, that's a deal.
I do it just for the cookie.
Yeah.
Jake Smolinski. Get into a fielder's choice to end the Rangers first. Archie Bradley, it's well, frankly, it's been kind of a mess. He has walked 5 and hit a batter, but he has yet to surrender a base hit and leads at 3-1. Been a little all over the place tonight. That looks like what's left of a D-bat dog. Hard to tell. Carl Giordano on that one. Ballpark sliders here. Grand Slam cheese stick. Jalapeno cheeseburger popper. 2-1. Slow ground ball to Owens. A couple of quick ground ball outs for Archie here to open up the 4th, and that'll bring up Rougned Odor. As we mentioned yesterday, has a brother named Rougned Odor. The numbers on Bradley so far, still more balls than strikes. But he is now retired after walking Andrews to lead off the 3rd, his 5th walk of the ball game. He has now retired 5 in a row. Odor walked his first time. There's a strike on 1. Rougned Odor, his teammates call him Stinky.
Of course they do.
Which is really funny. It works out. This is a guy that Jeff Bannister says just loves to swing the bat. And that's apparent because he's 6 for 47 to start the year. We're looking for a little more patience up there. Last year, Odor. Now keep in mind, last year he was 20 years old. He's just turned 21 actually in February, but he was up there hacking. 400 plate appearances, 17 walks. Is this in the air near the left field line? Inciarte, long run, and there's Ender. Ender Inciarte, and the souvenir, the final out of the 4th. Archie Bradley settling in perhaps. He's retired 6 in a row, and the Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 3-1.
very competitive. And when you've had the kind of success he's had, especially against us, he's going to be a confident guy out there on the mound. So what you have to do with him, he's got a very good curveball. You try to hit off everybody's fastball if you can, but Gallardo, you have to make the ball be up. If you start chasing the ball down around the knees, you're gonna hit ground ball after ground ball, or you're gonna hit into double plays, and you just have to see the ball up around the belt. And if you can get him up there, he'll straighten out a little bit, his ball flatten out a little bit, and you can do some damage.
Well, there's some damage right there. Chris Owings, and there it goes. CO's first home run. Well, Bob, all you got to do is listen to your coaches, right?
Absolutely. That's why they're there. Wealth of knowledge. Make him get the ball up. Make sure you see it up. Chris Owings saw that one up and out.
Number one for Chris.
Orioles wants it down and away. That pitch strays right over the heart of the plate. All right.
We're number one. That's just good coaching is what
yes,
that is. Tough he goes with. Elvis Andrews sets and throws. Nice scoop by Prince down there. That's the first out in the Arizona fourth. Chris Owings been showing signs. He certainly did over the weekend in San Francisco. It was a tough start to the year for CO. But he has now hit safely in 7 of his last 9. And with one out, here's Archie Bradley. Archie batting 8th in Chip Hale's lineup tonight. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, is in the 9 hole. Archie struck out looking his first time. That's the 3rd home run allowed this year by Yovani Gallardo, who now trails at 4-1. Diamondbacks have 5 hits, none so far for the Rangers. The D-backs youth movement continuing right there. And Chip Hale said it in spring training. We have a lot of good young players. There's a lot of youth on our team, and we're going to turn the ball club over to them. Jake Lamb and Chris Owings and Nick Ahmed, Ender Inciarte, David Peralta. That one really got Chirinos behind the plate.
There's that little extra extension over the right shoulder. That one got him pretty good, though. He took a beating back there last night. A couple off the mask, a couple off the shin guards. That one catches him off the right shoulder.
It's a collarbone right there. A ball and 2 strikes. And Archie has told us that he knows guys in this division, they're hitters. Madison Bumgarner, people like that. Zach Greinke, he says he takes his at-bats very seriously. I think that's a quarterback in him, too. Very high, Beltre at 3rd. Brings up Nick Ahmed, who struck out his first time. Chris Owings, his first home run of the year to lead off the 4th. That's got to feel good for CO.
Nick Ahmed chased a high fastball in his first at bat of the ball game. See if Gallardo gets to 2 strikes and tries to go back to that high fastball for the punch out. Off the middle, Andrews charges and
throws him out, but Chris Owings leads off the Arizona fourth with his first home run of the year. And the Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 4-1.
In part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich.
We're in the fifth. Archie Bradley will work to his opposite number, Yovani Gallardo. Gallardo, Martin Andrews, 9-1-2 in the Texas fifth. So far, Archie has yet to allow a base hit, but he has walked 5 and hit a batter. It's just been one of those weird nights. He's retired, in fact, the last 6 Rangers he's faced as he opens up the fifth.
And perhaps because he's been so wild in the early going, the Rangers have only swung at 1 first pitch in this ball game. Normally a very aggressive swinging team. But they sense they have a young pitcher out there on the mound struggling with his command, so they're being a little more patient tonight than they normally would be.
And remember to be careful with Gallardo. 12 career home runs. Actually, he's been just a little all over the place tonight. Tried to tie Gallardo up inside, but it's ball 3, and it's 3-2. Drops that into center field, a leadoff single, and the first Ranger hit tonight.
Center fielder, Leonis Martin.
Well, good hitting pitchers in a good hitter's count. They're going to do some damage. A little jam shot floater up the middle. First knock against Archie Bradley tonight. It figures it comes to the opposing pitcher.
Leonis Martin, the leadoff man. He has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Diamondbacks turn to beauty behind Archie Bradley. Chris Owings to Nick Ahmed. 4-6-3. Drives it to center. Archie Bradley. We'll watch A.J. Pollock track that one down. Take a deep breath there, Archie. And Gallardo scampers back to the bag.
What a reassuring feeling it must be for a pitcher to have A.J. Pollock in center and Andrew Inciarte in left, and even Mark Trumbo in right, the way he's been running them down lately. If that ball's in the air very long, somebody's going to get underneath it.
He seemed to hang up there for a while. But A.J. will track him down. Elvis Andrews now. He has fly out and walked 0 for 1. This is in the air to right. Trumbo in the corner. Fly ball out. 2 down. Here comes Prince.
I mentioned Fielder had a big night offensively last night, doubled to the gap in left center, and then this long home run to right field on a pitch down and in. Just kind of golfed it out of here to right field. Big smile on his face.
His first home run since May 8th of last year. Fielder has walked and struck out 0 for 1. He scored a run. The Rangers' only run, in fact, back in the first when Archie Bradley walked 3 and hit a batter.
On that fastball, Fritz didn't leave anything in the bag. He swings hard at just about everything. Maybe not as hard as the guy in the on deck circle, but he takes a healthy cut.
Beltre, he'll drop down to 1 knee on you. That's in there to make it 1-2. Well, Jeff Bannister says that Fielder is an RBI master. And Bannister said he has hunted the RBI, and the home runs just tend to show up. But Prince says the same thing. It's just about driving in those runs. And he'll go the other way against the shift in Ciarte. So a fly ball out to each Diamondbacks outfielder after the leadoff single. And we head to the bottom of the 5th. Some superheroes at the pool. CenturyLink, what's next for the Diamondbacks? Well, looking at that picture, I'm not quite sure. Hey fans, don't forget Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express is making its way out to the ballpark. Coming up soon, just stop by a participating Cox Solutions store at Tempe Marketplace and you can enter to win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus to the Diamondback game on May 9th. But you gotta hurry, registration ends on Saturday. For more information, visit foxsportsarizona.com and get aboard the Fox Sports Fan Express, brought to you by Cox Communications. Gonna get you on that thing. I'm usually under the bus, but you can ride in style.
I logged a lot of miles on the big silver dog.
Bet you did.
Just the Texas League alone, every time you climb on the bus, it's 10 hours, 12 hours.
It's a big state.
Ooh.
Ender Inciarte has singled, reached on an error, and scored twice. Shatters the bat in half. It's a little flare to center, but Martin tracks it down. That brings up A.J. Pollock, who's 2 for 2.
Center field.
It's been bad. We've seen break and fly back to the backstop. I'm hoping that would die out there in center field, but even with the broken bat, Ender caught too much of it. Martin able to run it down in center field.
A.J. now up to 365 on the year. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 7.
And Gallardo led off that last half inning for the Rangers with that base hit, and then just stood out there on base the entire inning. And normally goes back to the dugout, sits down, drink of water, towel off a little bit, whatever the case may be. But he didn't have that opportunity in that last inning break. He was out there on base.
I miss when they put on the jackets. That was a great 70s thing. That and the big bullpen cart. You know, the big hat that they drive out on the field.
Sure.
It's old school. I bet they had a lot of jackets at Candlestick.
You can't believe the jackets we had at Candlestick. Yeah, those big parkas. You see them sometimes early in the season in some of the cold weather cities. The relief pitchers will wear those big, heavy, thick fur-lined parkas with hoods and gloves built into the sleeves.
Like the Iditarod.
That was every day in August. Of course, Josh Colmenter would be in a tank top. Cold weather doesn't bother him.
One and 2 to A.J. Pollock. We shot by the way, speaking of jackets, a cup of coffee today. We shot 2 of them that you'll be seeing on Fox Sports Arizona. Get a lot of questions about cup of coffee. And so the first 2 are coming up soon. Tony La Russa and Dave Stewart. By the way, happy birthday to Dejon Watson there, second on the left. It's Dejon's birthday today. A.J. strikes out. It's 5 strikeouts for Gallardo. Hey, come out to Chase Field Saturday. D-backs and the Pirates.
First baseman.
First 20,000 fans will get the Paul Goldschmidt cap courtesy of Sanderson Ford. We have a few up here, in fact. And you don't want to miss adding the Goldie hat to your collection. Get your tickets now, dbacks.com. Do you feel like modeling the Goldie hat?
I don't know. It's fine by itself.
There you go. That's what it looks like. You'll get those first 20,000 fans. We'll get those Saturday, courtesy of our friends at Sanderson Ford.
Still puzzled over this thing, though. It looks to me like a left-handed swing.
The hat?
What do they call that artwork that you can see different things and depending on how you look at it. I mean, to me it looks like that's a left-handed hitter on a follow-through. Now I can see if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit, it could look like a right-handed hitter on this follow-through too. Obviously Goldie's a switch hitter. I mean, for me that looks like a left-hander finishing his swing.
Well, that's the Goldie hat.
What do I know? It's a Goldie hat. Don't you wish you had one?
Way to sell it.
I want people to come get their Goldie hat and then
you can
give
find
their
out,
interpretation.
Find out for yourself, basically. Yeah, I mean, that's what art is, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bob, for your interpretation. 2 and 2. Does he have the beard, though? You can't really tell on that, on the hat. But
I'm saying he does. I see a beard.
Yeah, is the dress blue or gold? Remember that? Well, you're not on the internet.
I do remember.
Were you remember that whole thing?
Oh, yeah. That was big news for a few days.
Oh, just so. Come on. What are we doing? 3 and 2 to Goldie. I started off with a Tony La Russa jacket story that he told during our cup of coffee episode, and now it's 2 outs and 3 and 2. So
we're way off the rails.
You're selling of the Goldie hat. Well, he's got the walk. Tony told a story about when he was managing the White Sox in Chicago very early in his managerial career, and it wasn't going all that well. He was getting threats
Right field.
from fans. And security went to him and said, you got one here, and just to be safe, we're going to have you wear a bulletproof vest in the dugout. This is middle of summer. And he wore the vests. Of course, no one in the dugout would sit near him because they thought he might be a target. Unfortunately, it was just a hoax and everything was fine. But the problem was that they kept winning.
Oh, no.
So he's got to wear the jacket. And it's under the uniform, and he's got a big overcoat on, middle of summer. And he's just sweating through this thing. So his second daughter is born, and he has to miss a game. So he's home with the new baby, watching White Sox game on TV. And he sees the coach that was filling in as the manager that day. They're losing. So the coach puts on the bulletproof vest.
Whatever it takes.
Trying to find some luck. He tells the story a lot better than I do, and you'll see that on Cup of Coffee with Tony La Russa. That's coming up soon on Fox Sports Arizona. Along with our show with Dave Stewart, who talks about stealing cupcakes from his mother's kitchen, which was a real crime in the Stewart household growing up in Oakland. He didn't do that.
A couple of heavy hitters right out of the chute on
Cup of Coffee, BB. We don't mess around on that show. There they are. Tony La Russa on your left, Deshaun Watson, Dr. Ed Lewis, and Dave Stewart.
That's the same look Dave Stewart used to get on his face when he was on the mound.
Oh, I asked him about that. Ooh. I said, you were a scary guy out there, man. Trumbo drives it to right center field, but Martin can't track it down. It drops in, Goldie running all the way, and he will score. 5-1 D-backs. Just a dying quail in the end, and Martin couldn't quite get there. And with 2 outs, Goldie running all the way, he scored the 5th Diamondback run.
Times do you see a big league player with 2 outs in the inning just kind of jog from first base? There's a fly ball to center. That guy's pretty good. He's going to catch it. I'll just jog around the bases. But Goldie never breaks stride. I mean, he's running like the police are after him. And scores from first base on a blooper into shallow center field.
6th hit for the Diamondbacks.
You know what that means?
Sometimes you got to live Tomas.
Right. Tacos.
It's prop night up here in the booth. We got all kinds of stuff for you up here. The hat, the tacos, the whole thing.
It all. Yeah, we got it. Everything up here.
Nice work out of you. Here's Aaron Hill. Now, had you been wearing the hat doing that, that would have been next level. Baby steps.
I'm just thinking about the off day tomorrow.
What do you got?
Tacos between 4 and 6. Probably a little Papa John's later if the D-backs hang on here.
I noticed you messed up when you made your sign there.
Now wait.
It's 5. It's 5 runs this year, and you got 6 tacos on your sign.
Well, you get 3 free tacos if they score 5 runs or more. I guess what I'm asking for is 10 runs here.
I mean, see, here's the problem. It says 5, but I count 6.
Yeah. Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I hate to ruin the illusion, but I didn't actually make this.
Don't let them see behind the curtain.
I'm not great at math, but I can count to 5.
Oh boy.
These 2-game series. It always happens in the 2-game series.
We have all this material. We got to get it in. Only got 2 games. Well, the walk to Goldie was the first walk issued all night by Gallardo, and sure enough, it scored. Two and 2 to Aaron Hill, and it's full. Rangers bullpen is getting busy down there.
Gallardo sneaking up on 100 pitches. That last delivery, number 93 on the night.
Tell you what, after that first inning that Archie had, he told me that Gallardo would be on the bubble quicker than Archie. I would have told you were crazy, but Bradley's retired 9 of the last 10 he's faced. And Gallardo gave up the leadoff homer to Owings in the 4th, and now another run here on the Trumbo RBI single in the 5th. 3-2 to Aaron Hill. There goes Trumbo. And Aaron drives it down the left field line, but he yanks it foul. Trumbo on the move again. We'll do it again. Everybody all right in the press box?
Yeah. Get up above on the signage above the press box. Ricochet back down in the lower bowl.
Mark getting in some wind sprints down there. With Gallardo now at 95 pitches. Diamondbacks trying to beat this guy for the first time ever. Trumbo off again. Aaron Hill chases and strikes out. That's 6 strikeouts now for Yovani Gallardo, but the Diamondbacks add another run. And through 5, they lead the Rangers 5-1.
Here, and Tuffy Gosewich and Jeff Bannister in opposing uniforms tonight, but they go back to the Arizona Fall League when Bannister managed Tuffy on the Scottsdale Scorpions in 2009. Now, Tuffy actually played in the AFL 3 years, and as luck would have it, he was number 3 in the pecking order on Bannister's team behind the likes of Buster Posey, Will and Rosario, but nevertheless, Bannister told me it was evident to him Tuffy would break through. He said he was a backyard player. The hardest thing was he would go out there one day, do his job, and then he would just have to sit him down for the guys like Buster.
I think you can't. They always do a good job of rotating those catchers through the Fall League. How about 3 tours in the Fall League? Usually, you know, one and done. Archie pitched in the Fall League last year.
All part of the process to get Tuffy where he is today. Took a long time to get here.
So Beltre with a leadoff single in the 6th. And here's Shin-Soo Choo, who is 0 for 2. 0 for 1, pardon me, hit by a pitch in the 1st. It's
Go D-backs!
Mr. Super Diamondback, Super D-back.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I like it, though. I feel safer. Hard to short on that little stumble there. And still able to turn 2. Very good defense from that Diamondback infield tonight. Beltre just kind of gave up. He didn't even bother running down to second.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are going to want to take a look at this to make sure that that throw to first base was indeed in time to get Chu. Nick had to go a long way to get to that bag after the stumble. Goldie's on the bag, clearly out at first base.
So with Archie creeping up on 90 pitches there, here in the sixth, he's got 2 outs on 3 pitches, just what the doctor ordered after that near 40 pitch first inning when he walked 3 and hit a batter. How about that? 37 pitch first. Robinson Chirinos. Randall Delgado loosening in the Diamondback bullpen. Chirinos had a bases loaded walk in that first inning. Grounded out his last time up. And I'll tell you what, Bob, since that first inning that was almost an unmitigated disaster for Archie, he's really done a nice job of bearing down. They've only had 4 base runners since that first. Two hits and 2 walks. Tuffy hangs on, and Archie gets just his second strikeout tonight. He is through 6, and he leads at 5-1.
You're already giving props to Archie Bradley, aren't you?
What an outstanding job.
And how are we going to look at his performance?
Well, we're going to look to see what he struggled with tonight, but more impressively, how he was able to battle through this and keep Texas down.
All right, lots of baseball left, though. Back to you guys, Steve and Bob. Bring it home.
Thank you, guys. Trying to salvage a split of this 2-game series. And the new pitcher for the Rangers, his 7th appearance this year. It's the right-hander Roman Mendez. He has pitched only once in his last 8 days. But he did very well his last outing Saturday at Seattle. He struck out 3 of the 6 he faced. And as he did in the 4th, Chris Owings will lead off the inning here in the 6th for the Diamondbacks. And in that 4th inning, CO belted his first home run of the year. And here it is off Giovanni Gallardo. CO's first home run since June 12th last year at Houston. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Out in front there, a ball and a strike. Diamondbacks trying to get a split of this 2-game set. Day off tomorrow, then the Pirates in for 3 starting on Friday.
You know, partner, you were talking last night about Prince Fielder and his new bat with that cone knob at the end. He used to get blisters on the heel of his hand. You see that little orange addition to the batting glove right there. That's a pad in a spot where Chris Owings gets a lot of blisters and calluses right there on the heel of his hand. That's something the players never talk about, but they battle it all season long. Guys get calluses on your hand, they crack, they get dry in the hot air and the desert air, and they split open. And you have to figure out different ways to pad the bat, pad your glove. But usually once you get them, you carry them with you for the rest of the season.
Called strike 3. A little discussion there with Mike Everett, the plate umpire. Yeah, there's no chance for it to heal up, right?
No. Once you get out of spring training, and even in spring training, you're taking so much extra batting practice that inevitably you end up with some blisters, and some of them form into calluses that you carry with you all season long. Occasionally they'll break open, and raw skin underneath, very tender. Just little things like that throw you off your game ever so slightly and keep the trainers busy.
Tuffy 0 for 2. Got a 4-game hit streak on the line tonight. One and one. That's actually a baseball glove taken apart.
Yeah, the beginnings of a baseball glove. Yeah.
On display here at Chase Field. Right field, room for Chu. Tuffy 0 for 3, 2 down.
Mile-an-hour fastball from Mendez hit high in the air, chased Chu all the way back to the warning track.
And now with the pitcher spot up 8th in the Diamondback order, that's going to be it for Archie Bradley. And Danny Dorn just called up yesterday. After 10 years in the minor leagues, will take the at-bat. Last night, his first major league at-bat, and he drew a base on balls.
It was so impressive. I mean, you can just imagine the emotions that Danny Dorn had to be feeling after 10 years in the minor leagues, finally getting your first big league at-bat, and he was calm, cool, and collected, drew the base on balls, didn't chase bad pitches.
Chases one upstairs there. You know, he had to be all pumped up for that at-bat. 10 years in the minors. He's 30. He'll be 31 in July. And his first look at the big leagues after a very good spring. Moves that one way up in the air. Shallow center. Andrews drifting out. Martin coming in. And it's Andrews. And Mendez comes in. Works a 1-2-3-6. Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 5-1.
Check out the scoreboard. The D-backs have scored.
By your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
Now pitching number 48.
Back at Chase Field, our Gila River game summary. It was a wild top of the first for Archie Bradley, who walked 3 and hit a batter. Gave up a run in that top of the first, but the Diamondbacks answered with 2 in the home half. Chris Owings has homered, a couple of RBI groundouts, one for Goldie, one for Mark Trumbo, who's also got an RBI single. And Archie ended up going 6 innings, giving up only 2 hits. He leaves with a 5-1 lead, and here's Randall Delgado. And Joe Borowski hinted at it, Bob. Borderline miracle here, the way Archie started, that he got through 6 innings and gave up only 1 run.
You know, a lot of pitchers will tell you an outing like tonight they feel better about than like maybe his first 2 outings when he was on top of his game, spotting everything well, really dealing. Tonight, he had to work extremely hard to put the zeros on the board after that first inning.
Archie retired 11 of the last 13 Rangers he faced in the ballgame after that wild first where he threw almost 40 pitches. Delgado ahead of Smolinski 0-2. There's a ball. Randall Delgado. Smolinski has hit into a fielder's choice and grounded out 0-2. And there's the strikeout. 1 down.
Follow the Arizona Diamondbacks all season in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet.
Rougned Odor, the second baseman, has walked and flied out 0-1. And 6 for 48 to start the year. And he's up there hacking at the first pitch. This is what they're kind of dealing with Odor, who they like a lot, but he's just got no plate discipline whatsoever. Trying to get him to see more pitches. Sure enough. Swings at the second one. Aaron Hill makes a nice play, but Odor beats it out. That's the 3rd Rangers hit.
Aaron Hill might have had a chance to still get him if he had been a right-handed batter, having to run that extra 3 feet, but as it is, Aaron can only get it over there a split second too late.
He made that throw from his wallet, basically. And Aaron Hill has shown he's got a really good arm down there. That throw for him is no problem. You think of him, of course, as a second baseman, but he can easily make those long throws down there at third. Mitch Moreland will hit for the pitcher. Moreland hitting .300, 1 home run through 11 games. Doubled and scored a run in his only at bat last night. He's been slowed lately by a bad elbow. The Paradise Valley Burger Company here at Chase Field, brand new. A lot of the local fare here at the ballpark this year. That was, I actually had that for dinner. We shot the cup of coffees down at the corner right here in downtown, which is a fantastic lunch spot. But by the time, you get over here, you do your preparations, you look up, well, I got to eat something. So I ran down Paradise Valley. Man, they bailed me out. Just in time. We have to get you out to Lolo's.
Oh, yeah. Check it out.
All the local fare. You really do get a taste of the valley here at the ballpark this year. 1-1 to Moreland. We'll keep Odor close down there. Moreland last year, one of the Rangers' endless injury victims. He played only 52 games. Missed the last 4 months of the year, reconstructive surgery on his ankle, and now he's got a sore elbow. Easy double play ball. On there. Owens. Goalie there. Roll it. And we stretch at Chase Field. Diamondback defense has been terrific in that infield tonight. One more example. They turn 2. It's 5-1 Diamondbacks. Sports Live will offer a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus all the highlights from tonight's Major League games. Fox Sports Live tonight at 10 on Fox Sports 1, or right here on Fox Sports Arizona, right after Diamondbacks live postgame show. Bottom 7 at Chase. New pitcher for the Rangers is Logan Verrett. This is a guy that hasn't worked the last 6 days. Been a quiet bullpen back there for some of these Ranger relievers. And his major league debut at Oakland earlier this month. This is his 4th big league appearance. The ERA just under 5. Nick Ahmed, the 9-hole hitter tonight, will lead it off in the Arizona 7th. Ahmed and Ciarte Pollock 9-1-2. Nick has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. And right now stuck in a 2 for 27. You know, Nick said this spring people are always going to tell him that he's just not going to hit. He's always going to hear that. He's heard it his whole life, he says. He's used to it. And he's dealt with it for a long time. But he knows internally what he can do. And he knows how much he can help a team win offensively at the plate and on the bases. And he's got a track record in spots of hitting. I mean, over 100 games for Phil Nevin at Reno last year. Hit .312 at AAA. Got on base at better than a .370 clip and was 6th in the Pacific Coast League in hitting, in fact. And he belts that one to left. Smolinski won't get there. Nick Ahmed takes the turn and heads for second. And he's got his first double.
We've seen flashes of what Nick Ahmed brings to the plate. Occasionally he can drive the ball like he does here down into the left field corner. In hit and run situations, he manages to get the bat on the ball, usually hits it behind the runner. I think for Nick, it's always going to be about his glove. He's such a superior defensive shortstop. Teams are going to be willing to carry him because he's going to make all the plays. He's going to save you runs. He's going to save your pitching staff. If he can just contribute, move runners, get a bunt down, well-executed hit and run, a fly ball to the outfield with the runner at third. Just do some things to contribute offensively.
Inciarte hits it to the right side. Fielder has it. Barrett covers, and they get the out as Ahmed moves up. Is there a number that you want? I mean, I can live with X if I get the typical great Nick Ahmed defense.
I don't know if you can really hang a number on it. You know, like I said, he can make outs and help the team, help the guys behind him in the lineup get the RBIs and help the guys in front of him in the lineup get on the plate. He might not be the guy actually coming up with the hits. And, you know, it's hard to quantify that kind of a player.
Adrian Beltre in on a meeting down there, apparently.
He learned that from Matt Williams.
Matty did that all the time.
Oh, yeah. He'd go right over and stand there and listen to the third base coach giving instructions to the base runner at third.
AJ lifts it in the air to the right field corner. Chu has it. Ahmed will tag and score, and it's 6-1 Diamondbacks. Day off tomorrow, as we mentioned. Chevron has a look now at our upcoming matchup. First of 3 on Friday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's Cole and Cole Mentor. Some interest. I mean, the Pirates got a pretty good rotation coming in here over the weekend. Cole Mentor and Cole Friday. Ruby De La Rosa, AJ Burnett Saturday. Jeremy Hellickson, Francisco Liriano Sunday. And then the Rockies are in for 3 starting on Monday. Oh, 1 to Goldie. Walked and scored his last time up. Goldie has an RBI ground out, a strikeout, and a walk in the run. So he's 0 for 2, an 8-game hitting streak on the line here. Three homers, 9 RBIs during the streak. Lays off that one. It's 2-2. Nope. Full count. Chases that one in the dirt. Chirinos will complete the strikeout, but the Diamondbacks add one more. Nick Ahmed, a double. A.J. Pollock drives him in. We go to the 8th at 6-1 Diamondbacks. Big Egg Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox. Randall Delgado out there for his second inning of work. Diamondbacks lead the Rangers 6-1 here in the 8th. And it'll work to Leonis Martin, the leadoff man, who is 0 for 3. Martin, Andrews, Fielder, 1, 2, and 3. The 47 brand. BB, I know this is your favorite. They have those cool hats in there.
Yes, they do.
I know you're a big hat guy. Randall quickly behind, 3 balls and no strikes. The camo hat, that's a good look.
It's a real good look. Hey, a lot of people don't like to buy hats that look brand new. They like to buy hats that look like they've been worn, thrown in the back of the car, in the trunk. But if you prefer a new one, you get plenty of brand new. Looks like they're right out of the box, the ones the players get.
I imagine you like that color scheme we just saw.
Oh, yeah.
Leonis Martin, a leadoff walk. First walk issued by Delgado.
Shortstop, Elvis Andrews.
That's the 6th walk Diamondbacks pitching is distributed. 5 of them by Archie Bradley, who also hit a batter.
Oh, sad we have an off day tomorrow. Would have been our first Throwback Thursday of the season at home.
It's going to be a highlight this year. Hashtag Throwback Thursday, every Thursday home game. The purple is back this year at Chase Field. Elvis Andrews, 0 for 2, walked in the 3rd.
Good meeting.
Delgado in the 7th had a strikeout to start the inning. An Odor single, got a double play ball and got out of it, but he's having trouble throwing strikes here in the 8th. Back with you on Friday, first of 3 against the Pirates. Pre-game show starts at 6 o'clock here on Fox Sports Arizona. 1-0 to Elvis Andrews. There's the strike, 1-1. All the new merchandise areas here in the ballpark. Several stands throughout the concourse and a terrific newly remodeled team store on which they did a just magnificent job. 1-2 now. Nice block by Tuffy there.
Good block, and in the process of flipping off that mask, I think it hit Andrews somewhere. Yeah. On the backside there someplace.
2-2. Elvis Andrews is 26. He'll turn 27 in August. And, you know, he's already in his 7th full season at Texas. You forget he broke in as a 20-year-old back in 2009. Played 145 games as a rookie. Was second in the Rookie of the Year voting to Andrew Bailey, who was the A's closer that year. How about one more double play? Nick Ahmed. He is a machine down there.
He's got such a good internal clock. He knows where the runners are on base. He knows how much time he has. Didn't even have to look down to where the bag was at second base. Been the same thing all night long. After a sloppy defensive ball game last night, the team has really come out and played some inspired defense tonight. Look at this.
And then Ender Inciarte and foul ground. That one ended the 5th. Here's Prince. Helps this one to center. AJ broke back, now will come in. It's drifting out to very shallow left center field. And once again, there's Nick Ahmed, who's got it. Randall Delgado is through the 8th. Diamondbacks lead at 6-1.
Bob Brenly just touched on it. We talked about it last night, Joe. The defense not so crisp after the off day last night, but tonight a different story, and Archie Bradley needed it, didn't he?
Pitcher's best friend, Todd. Anytime you want to keep a team off the scoreboard, you get defensive plays like the Diamondbacks are doing tonight.
You roll 4 double plays, and I'm sure we'll look at all of them. That's coming up after the last out. D-backs Live. Steve and Bob, back to you. Bring it home.
Thank you, guys. Mark Trumbo will lead off the Arizona 8th. Trumbo, Hill, and Owings 4, 5, and 6. Diamondbacks have out hit the Rangers 7-3. They lead it 6-1. And Logan Verrett back out there for Texas, his second inning of work. Good night for Trumbo. Mark, a pair of singles and 2 RBIs. Andrew Chafin.
As a manager and a pitching coach, this is the kind of ball game you like right before an off day, because you're not forced to put guys in the ball game. Oh, geez, we need an inning out of this guy. We need an inning out of that guy. The phone call to the bullpen was probably, who needs an inning of work?
Can you imagine that call after watching Archie in the first?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like they might need 9 pitchers down there. Just take it off the hook. You're fine.
Yeah, anybody down there need an inning of work? Yeah, Andrew Chafin, he's our long guy. Pitched for a couple days. He probably needs an inning here of work. So, yeah, go ahead. Let's finish this one up.
Well, I don't know if you saw the pregame show today, but Frank Caliendo does all those great impersonations. Did a variety of impersonations introducing the Diamondback lineup. And it played on the DBTV board here at the ballpark. And it was a different character for every Diamondback. Did a different voice for every guy. You can see the entire thing, all 9 guys at FoxSportsArizona.com. It's really funny.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
9 guys, 9 different characters. As Mark Trumbo stays alive. He started off doing John Madden. That was the big one. And he just does everybody.
Al Pacino, Adam Sandler. Broke them all out.
Yeah, another 3-2 to Trumbo. Oh, well, we got the wrong count up there. Now it's 3-2. Sky to right center. Shoes under it. And here is Frank Caliendo introducing somebody.
Batting 5th for the Arizona Diamondbacks, number 5, Aaron Hill. Side.
Well, at least he didn't say A-Rod Hill.
Aaron.
Yeah, 43 used to be the owner of this ball club.
Yes, indeed, yeah. He's the managing partner. I don't think he had the most money invested in the team, but he was calling the shots.
And you saw him throw what I think is the most impressive ceremonial first pitch in the history of baseball. And he went up there in 0-1, mound at Yankee Stadium, and he delivered a perfect strike.
With a bulletproof vest underneath his jacket.
It's a recurring theme. 2-1. That was a little taste of Frank Caliendo. And again, you can see all 9 introductions at FoxSportsArizona.com. It's worth a click. Yeesh. Three and 1.
I had the great honor of having enchiladas with the president.
What was that like?
Oh, it was great. Artie Moreno was there along with Jerry Colangelo and Joe Garagiola Jr. and myself. We got a call. I thought it was a prank call president would like to have dinner with you. Yeah, right. Who is this? Well, the president just happened to be in town and wanted to get together with the world champions. So went out to dinner at TP on Indian School and had some Mexican food. And boy, we talked baseball. I mean, exactly what you would expect. We sat around and talked about this guy and that guy and draft picks and how important are draft picks in baseball. And it was just a great evening.
Let me talk to that Brenly fella. Chris Owings a homer to lead off the fourth, his first of the year.
Well, if you go into TP there, they marked the booth. They've got a little plaque there.
Bob Brenly was here.
Yeah, along with some other guy.
A ball and a strike. Rangers in the ninth. They'll have Beltre, Chu, and Chirinos for 5 and 6. Well, CL, the bat starting to come alive, and he drives it to right center field. Aaron Hill is being waved home by Andy Green, and Owings is headed for third. Chris Owings, his first triple at 7-1 D-backs. This is a difference maker, BB, when he starts to hit.
I'm telling you, it's production out of the bottom of that lineup. Boy, what a nice approach that time. Nice quick swing on a pitch up and out over the plate. Perfectly splits that gap in right center. Love to see him heating up.
A homer and a triple for Chris Owings, a pair of RBIs, and now 7-1 Diamondbacks. And Mike Maddox out to the mound. And you got Tuffy Gozawish coming up. Pitcher spot is after that, and David Peralta's in the on-deck circle.
Chris Owings red hot at the plate. This is what players will do. Hope it rubs off on them.
Trey trying to get some luck down there. Tuffy 0 for 3. Diamondbacks have now scored a run in 5 of the last 6 innings. And Tuffy trying to keep his 4-game hit streak going. Infield is in on the edge of the grass. Ryan Roberts fan apparently. 2 balls and a strike. Reaches down, fielder knocks it down. There's nobody at the bag, and Tuffy's aboard. Always had to hold up at third. But when Prince ranged so far off the bag to knock that one down, there was nobody home to collect the throw.
Yeah, Prince maybe distracted by CO over there at third base. Might have taken his eye off that ball just for a second. Squirts out of his glove. You can see Odor trying to hustle over there. The pitcher was just kind of caught spectating out there on the mound. Verrett. And Tuffy legs it out. They call that an E3.
They have put another error up on the board for Texas. David Peralta hits for the pitcher. David hitting .235 on the year. 2 homers and 6 RBIs. He started last night's game in left field, went 0 for 4. Yeah, E3 is the scoring on that ball hit by Tuffy. So no base hit. The third Rangers error of the ball game.
Yeah, I think that one could have gone either way. I mean, fielder did leave his feet. And granted, he did have the ball in his glove momentarily, but he had to leave his feet to get it.
I told you yesterday that Prince said publicly Mitch Moreland should be playing first base and I should be the DH. He's a better defender than I am. But Moreland, as we said, has a bad elbow, so Fielder's out there. And obviously no DH in this series. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. The numbers on Peralta this year. Two and two. Todd Walsh and Joe Borowski. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game. Owings is the runner at third. Gozawish at first. 2-2 to David Peralta. It's full. Ahmed doubled and scored in his last at bat. He's on deck. See if he can get a hold of one right here.
Strike fastball that time on the 3-2 pitch. Down and out over the plate a little bit, right where David normally likes it. Had a good hack at it. Just fouled it off.
Belts it to right at Chu. Owings will tag, and he will score. 8-1 Diamondbacks. An RBI for Peralta.
Fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game. They're all running out to the Kachinko stand to sign up.
Well, Bannister coming out to the mound. We'll have a pitching change. Diamondbacks have scored 2 here in the 8th to take an 8-1 lead. Is the entire sorority here tonight? What's happening?
I think so.
Back after this.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Frank Caliendo as Adam Sandler introducing Nick Ahmed, who doubled and scored his last time up. Diamondbacks with 2 here in the 8th. They lead at 8-1. New pitcher for the Rangers, who they picked up on waivers from the Pirates earlier this month. Stolmy Pimentel. Nick 1 for 3. And he has been brilliant down there at shortstop tonight.
Brilliant.
And again, if you're not near your computer and you want to see Frank Caliendo do the entire Diamondback lineup, 9 different voices, you can watch it on Diamondbacks Live postgame show. They'll have the whole thing, 1 through 9. And that's coming up right after our ball game here with Todd Walsh and Joe Borowski. Do you do anybody? You got anything in the bag of tricks there?
No, not really. You know, like everybody else, I had a Harry Carey I used to do, but so many guys do it better, I'm embarrassed to even try it.
Get you a couple of beers and see what happens.
Hey.
1-1.
Yeah, I had the great pleasure of working with Harry for a couple of years in Chicago on the radio side. Tom Brenneman was doing play-by-play for WGN Radio, and he would trade with Harry for the middle 3 innings of the game and go over to TV, and Harry would come over to radio. And there would be innings when Harry wouldn't say much. He would look up and go 1-1 pitch on the way. And then he'd have his pencil out, scratching away on the paper, and then he'd look up, 1-2 count. And then he'd scratch away on the paper. And after about 10 minutes of this, he finally had added up whatever it was, and he would go, Bob. And I knew right away, oh no, man, he's been working on this all inning. He's going to try to trap me in something here. You just knew. Bob. Yeah, Harry? Oh, jeez. And occasionally it was just, working out the backward pronunciation of a player's name. He was notorious for that.
Ender Inciarte. So I'm at aboard for the second time tonight. Here's Ender. 1 for 4. He has scored twice. Tuffy at second and Ahmed at first. 2 down here in the 8th. The great Harry Carey. There's a great statue of Harry right across from Murphy's at Wrigley Field in Wrigleyville. I assume it's still there. You don't know with the whole ballpark under construction. But
they may have taken it away for the time being, but I'm sure it'll be right back where it belongs.
Top shelf. Elvis Andrews takes a base hit and an RBI away from Ender Inciarte. Time for some Ranger defense there, and that ends the 8th. But the Diamondbacks get 2 more, and we go to the 9th. They lead the Rangers 8-1. And is between the ages of 10 through 14. Well, come on out to Chase Field on Sunday. It's the Fox Sports Arizona Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions. Be at the Sandlot near Baxter's Den from 11:30 to 1:30, and maybe you can be up here broadcasting Diamondbacks baseball.
You know, Steve.
Yes, Harry?
Berthiaume spelled backwards is M-U-I Treb.
Ninth inning brought to you by Old Style. Andrew Chafin is on to work the ninth. Cub fan, Budman.
That's right.
Beltre, Chu, and Chirinos, 4, 5, and 6. So the whole time he's just trying to spell guys' names backwards.
A lot of the times it was that. I mean, sometimes, you know, he would notice something in the scorecard. Wait a minute. You know, there have been a lot of first batter walks in this game. Every inning's had a guy walk to lead it off, and, you know, he'd be over there scratching it out. And, you know, how many hitters have been up in the game? How many have walked? He'd come up with some crazy formula and ask my opinion of it. I don't know, Harry. What do you think?
Well, one oddity that we've seen in this game is Beltre drives that one to left and gone. Adrian Beltre, his second home run this year, and it's 8-2. Now, Adrian Beltre has this thing as they throw the souvenir back. He does not like you to touch his head. He's very funny about that. Do not touch the dome. And, of course, everyone tries to touch it every time he comes back from a home run. And we'll see what happens here.
Usually Elvis Andrus is right in the middle of it.
I think everybody got the memo. I guess when you're down 8-1, now 8-2, you don't mess around. I was going to say Chafin, you remember, was warming up in the first inning when Archie Bradley was struggling. It looked like he might not get out of the first inning. Archie walked 3 and hit a batter in that first, but managed to get through it with nearly 40 pitches in the inning and only 1 run. And he was very good after that. Went 6 innings. But Chafin was warming up, and now here he is on in the 9th. Beltre aboard 3 times for the Rangers, a walk, a single, and a home run. He was 2 for 21 coming into the game, and I guess some of that hotness rubbed off from CO. He did that after Owings tripled, and sure enough, homered. So Andrew Chafin, a home run, and now a walk to Chu here to open up the 9th.
We said it earlier. He never gets cheated. I mean, 2 strike counts, doesn't matter. He's going to swing as hard as he can, try to put a charge on that ball somewhere.
So Chu aboard, still no outs. Here's Chirinos. He has walked with the bases loaded for an RBI, grounded out and struck out. 0 for 2. So far, Andrew Chafin, 6 balls, 3 strikes, and a home run allowed.
How about another double play ball? I never get tired of watching double plays when we're on defense.
We turned, what, 4 tonight?
4 tonight.
Yeah. Two and 1. Andrew Chafin just cannot find the strike zone. 12 pitches so far, only 4 strikes. There's a strike. It's 3-2. Smolinski on deck. Would have liked to give Caliendo a shot at Rougned Odor. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Inciarte picks it up, and they will stop Chu at third. It's a double for Robinson Chirinos. That's his third this year. Day off tomorrow for the Diamondbacks, and the Pirates are in over the weekend for 3. Cole and Cole Minter Friday. Ruby De La Rosa and A.J. Burnett on Saturday. Sunday, Francisco Liriano and Jeremy Hellickson. All 3 games for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona as Mike Harkey pays a visit to Andrew Chafin out there.
All 3 of the Diamondback starters coming off their best outing of the year. Jeremy Hellickson was really good in that last game of the San Francisco series. Of course, Josh Coleminter, when they needed him the most, went out and threw a complete game against Jake Peavy and the Giants.
And the D-backs rotation, which has struggled the first time through, has been outstanding. And Diamondback starting pitchers coming into tonight, over their previous 6 starts, had an ERA of 1.93. And Archie Bradley gave up only 1 run tonight. Here's Smolinski. You've got Chu at third, Chirinos at second, and still nobody out. That's a nice, neat, legible scorecard.
Looks like he's even keeping track of the pitches. His boxes on the right there. I assume balls and strikes.
Off Chafin's leg. Chu will come in and score. Goldie gets Smolinski at first. And Chirinos is in at third. So they trade a run for an out there. 1 away. Tough to tell there. Bannister is out on the field. They're going to have Ryan DePanfilo, the assistant trainer, come out and check on Chafin. And this is going to buy some time for Bannister's people to look at the replay.
Really tough to tell. The first angle looked like Goldie may have gotten Smolinski in the hip as he went sliding by. First base umpire Tim Timmons right on top of it, had the best look at it. Chief Bouchel, the bench coach.
I don't know if that's a yes, he got him, or a yes, you should challenge. Chafin throwing some warm-up tosses here, and Bannister will check in with Timmons, and they will go to the headsets. What have you got to lose at this point? If you're Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the previous play is under official video replay review. The review has been initiated with the manager challenged by the Texas Rangers. The call on the field.
And remember, you have 3 options here: call confirmed, call stands, or call overturned. A couple of looks now.
It looked like his jersey pulled a little bit when Goldie's glove made contact down near the left hip. I think he missed his shoulder, but it looked to me like he caught him just above the belt on that left side as he went sliding by.
Now remember, the call on the field is out, and you have to have clear and convincing evidence for the call being reviewed to be overturned. And if you don't have that, it can be stands or confirmed if you think you see a tag, which we may see right there.
Yeah.
As they review in New York.
Like his jersey pulled and the top of his belt loop bent down a little bit when Goldie made contact.
He is out at first. So the call on the field is confirmed. They saw the tap. So they had enough evidence to confirm the call, and that's the first down here in the ninth. So it's now an 8-3 ball game, one out. And Chirinos at third, keeping track of all the challenges in Diamondback games this year. Brought to you by our friends at Mix One. Brugman Odor now. Chirinos will stay at third. Odor has been aboard twice tonight, a walk and a single. And Chafin is behind 2 balls and no strikes. It's a rough ninth inning here for Andrew. He's given up a home run, a walk, and a double. And Texas has scored twice. Line right to Ahmed, a one hop. Chirinos will come in and score, and they get the second out. It's an 8-4 ball game.
Hitting for Stormy Pimentel. Number 9, Adam Rosales.
And Adam Rosales will hit for the pitcher with 2 outs in the ninth. Rosales 3 for 16 on the year. He does have a home run. Parts of 8 seasons in the major leagues with the Reds, the A's, and now the Rangers. Rosales, you might remember, is a guy who, when he was in Oakland, he got decent power. He'll hit the occasional home run. And when he hits it out, he sprints around the bases, full speed. From Western Michigan. That would make him a big collegiate rival of Josh Colmenter, who pitched at Central Michigan.
Oh, members of the MAC.
Go Bobcats.
Yes, indeed.
Diamondbacks a strike away from getting a split of this 2-game set with the Rangers. Day off tomorrow. Pirates in for 3 starting on Friday. Diamondback Live postgame show with Todd Walsh and Joe Borowski follows. And Frank Caliendo. 2-2. Base hit. Chip Hale is going to go get Andrew Chafin. He's got the left hand hitting Leonys Martin coming up. It looks like Addison Reed is going to get some work here to try and get that final out. 8-4 Diamondbacks back after this.
Diamondbacks, and look at these fans. I should know that guy. Who is that? Oh, I can't think of his name. I saw him in spring training. Who is that guy? Oh, that's Oscar Hernandez.
Yeah, I whiffed on that. Look, now he's walking away. There's Oscar coming back for that hamate bone surgery. The Goldie hat looked great on him, though.
Yeah.
That's coming up this weekend. So Addison Reed is on. Rangers have scored 3 in the 9th, and Diamondbacks 1 out away here. And there's strike 1 to Martin at 94. So we'll see what Addy gets here in his 5th appearance of the year at 2.45 ERA. We've seen, I think, Bob, you'd probably agree, much better command this year for Addison Reed, and it's good to see that 94 up there too.
Better fastball command and more break and sharper later break on that slider. Really just never had a consistent slider all season last year. It was basically a one-pitch pitcher.
62 appearances, 32 saves. 1-1 on Martin. Rosales takes off. He'll get second on defensive indifference. 1-2 now on Leonys Martin. Consistent 94 from Addy here. It's 2-2. That's the kind of velocity they saw in Chicago. Base hit. And they will wave into Rosales. And it's an 8-5 ball game. RBI single from Martin. That one just squeaked through.
Shortstop, Elvis Andrews.
And here comes the heart of the order. Still looking for that final out. Elvis Andrews. Andrews walked in the 3rd. He is 0 for 3. You don't want 84 to get up. He's on deck.
No, thank you.
This is the guy to get right here. Martin will take second base. Rangers with 4 in the 9th. Two and 0.
Andrews 0 for 5 lifetime against Addison Reed with 3 punch outs. Definitely want to end it right here.
Fielder is the tying run on deck. There's a strike, 2-1. Two and 2. lucky hat. Who else but Nick Ahmed? Ball game. Well, Texas makes it interesting with 4 in the 9th. The Diamondbacks hang on and win at 8-5. They salvage a split of the 2-game set with the Rangers.
Well, what a defensive show tonight for the Diamondbacks after a sloppy defensive ball game last night in support of Archie Bradley, who was, needless to say, not on top of his game at the beginning, but really settled in afterwards, had a lot of help from his defense.
There'll certainly be a lot for Joe Borowski to analyze after that wild first inning by Archie Bradley, who then turned into just a dynamo out there and hangs on, and the Diamondbacks do as well for an 8-5 win. Let's start Diamondbacks Live postgame show. Joe is with Todd Walsh. Todd.
Yes, he is, and he has lots of work ahead of him here, Joe. I guess the one thing I wanted to focus on and look ahead to is the fact the Diamondbacks bounced back from their worst defeat of the young season. However, does that sloppy 9th inning concern you at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
They did a great job all game, and I love the defense.
Okay, we'll talk about the defense, the offense, Archie Bradley's performance tonight, plus a little value add. If you missed Frank Caliendo's run through the Diamondbacks starting lineup, we'll have that. Yes, thank you very much. We'll have that for you as well. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll set the table and we'll start it all up. Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink, will begin in moments. Stick around. We'll be back at Chase Field in just a bit.